Time for a welder teardown. This time we got one of these ESAB welders that you can use for stick welding. And obviously this one doesn't work. I found it at the scrapyard. And yes, no cables. And I don't have any use for a stick welder. So I'm going to tear this thing apart and we'll see how it looks inside. So before we open it up, let's have a look on the specs here. It's made by ESAB AB, welding equipment in Sweden. So Origo arc 150, so it goes up to 150 amps. Here you can see it as well. 20 volts from 8 amp to 150 amps, so that's a pretty high current. And yes, 36 amps, I don't know what that is. Impulse current for the cable maybe. Inrush current, should I say. Yes, let's take it apart. And here we go. Let's see if there's any salvageable components. At first we can see some capacitors here and here. Some kind of ferrite transformer. Of course, this is a inverter welder. Not one of these welders with a huge iron core transformer in it. And on the other side, we got a lot of plastic. And I wonder, maybe a fan behind that. So yes, and on the top here, we got some control circuit board. We got the inrush, we got the filter here. And here we got a transformer for the electronics here, I think. And the cable goes somewhere down there. Yes, we'll see how it works. And in here we got another pretty large ferrite core transformer. That will be interesting. And I expect to see some heat sinks, like one here and one here. This one here should be the rectifier, and this one should be for the IGBTs or MOSFETs. And maybe we can see what went wrong with this. So we got the cable here going to a switch. After that it goes to this interference filter here. And after that it goes to the circuit board. And somewhere the rectifier should be. And some smoothing capacitors. Maybe the smoothing capacitor is here. Those two. And there we can see the IGBT brick. Yes, before I take this further apart, I want you to see this. Those screws go to the IGBT brick that you can see here. They are soldered. First they screwed in the IGBT, and after that they put the circuit board here and soldered the pins. So you can see here that I can actually push these ones in. And then they will notice that this circuit board has been serviced. It's like some anti-tamper. And here we go. And here's the IGBT brick, and there's the big smoothing capacitor and the iron core or ferrite core transformer. And here you can see a temperature sensor. It looks like a big heat sink. It goes from here over there, so there are no double heat sinking here. So one single heat sink. And down here we've got maybe a diode bridge. And now some screws later, we got some kind of choke, I think. AC choke. Now I can remove that. Here we can see the diode bridge. Well, actually there should be a double diode actually. And here I think that's a DC choke. Let's have a look at it. It's very dirty. Here you can see a schematic of the diode with a positive in the middle and two diodes to the bus. There's anode here, two cathodes. And here we can see some bus bars. This one went directly to the circuit board or to the diode somewhere. And this one goes in here. It is choke. Let's unscrew the choke. So yes, now it's unscrewed. Let's see if we can get it out from here. Maybe I should remove the front first. Yes, this makes everything easier. This one is pretty dirty. That was quite tiny. But it's still a pretty nice transformer. We got some wires here, some sense wire I think. This one goes just one turn around the transformer. And this one is a temperature sensor, measuring the temperature of the windings. As I remove the front now, you can see here, the terminals, that's a pretty large current shunt. Let's take the capacitor out. Let's just come out. Here we've got a big EPCOS capacitor. Clean it up a bit. 1000 microfarad, 400 volts DC. Pretty good capacitor. And now the rear part. There we've got the fan. There are the cables. There's cable gland. That's a pretty dirty fan. There got two circuit boards on the top. Can remove those first. For the power supply here and some interference filter. Looks good. Nothing wrong with that one. It's a logic board. Looks good as well. No such a big problem. So it's now just a piece of plastic with a big heatsink in it. You see here the plastic is held in by these screws here. So if we can maybe remove the plastic, the temperature sensor falls apart. Here's the big heatsink. Here's that part that held everything together. Another piece of plastic here. Got this fan. DC 24 volts. And yes, it's a pretty dirty welder. So yes, here's the welder taken apart. And here you can see all the components. Let's begin with this logic drive board first. Interestingly, there is no microcontroller on this one. There are just some op-amps here. Those are op-amps. And this one is a SG3525 PWM controller. Nice, we got some potentiometers here. We got some op-amps here for current sensing and to make a resonant frequency to the transformer. And here is the part that I think is faulty, which is this big IGBT module, which actually, interestingly, contains the rectifier as well. The mains comes in here, AC, goes through some resistors here to this IGBT directly with no diodes. That's a bit special. So I think there's something wrong with this one because it don't give out anything. Here's the interference filter. Got a big MOV here, capacitor, common mode choke. Here's the pins that went to this board. Here's a small transformer for this logic drive. Should be a center tapped transformer because we've got a double diode here. Yes, it should be a center tapped transformer. Smoothing capacitors. And those terminals went to the fan. And put them here. This is the secondary board. There's an AC interference filter here, choke maybe. Some capacitors, kind of over voltage surge protection maybe. Couple of resistors here. And a lot of screws. Got this potentiometer. 10K. Got these terminals for the welding connector. And this is the heatsink. Quite a large one. So at last, are there any salvageable components in a inverter welder? Of course, plenty of salvageable good components. If you're interested in power electronics, with good capacitors, large inductors like this one, transformers, capacitors, everything, and a big heatsink. So yes, it's a very good score actually. Hope you find this video interesting. Thanks for watching.